It's now been more than 6 months since Hurricane Harvey devastated the Houston area, but for some, the full emotional impact of this devastation is just setting in. Over 3,000 families still living in FEMA-funded hotels and could still be waiting months for the billions of dollars that Washington has already approved. Joining us now is KHOU 11 mental health expert Bill Prasad. So, Bill, what is your overall sense of recovery, say, these 6 months now post this natural disaster?
First of all, on the whole, people are very resilient, and everyone felt some symptoms in the first 30 days post-Harvey, and that's an important line in the sand. If you feel psychological symptoms after 30 days, then you might have some problems.
So what are those stages that an adult would go through?
Well, you start with the pre-disaster phase, and that's preparation, and then the storm does hit, and then there's a heroic stage where people are very altruistic. Police officers, firefighters helping each other. Then there's the honeymoon phase where there's some optimism. Where we are now is the disillusionment phase. This is the phase where people have a firm sense of what they lost, what won't be replaced, and what insurance is not going to cover. And in the meantime, the people who were in their lives that they were getting support from have gone back to work. This stage lasts about 6 to 12 months post-natural disaster.
So this is like the reality sinking in stage.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
And kids sometimes can be tough to read. How do you know if a child is still feeling the effects of Harvey?
Child will show you very clearly. There will be separation anxiety. Sometimes their behavior will regress, and sometimes they'll act out. Some parents have told me the child has acted out when it is raining.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, you mentioned that PTSD doesn't really start until 30 days after or a month after a significant event like this. What about the symptoms now? Have they lessened for a lot of people who had PTSD?
They should have dissipated a great deal for folks who came out of the disaster. As far as PTSD symptoms itself, more than likely it could have gotten worse.
Wow, that's scary.
And if people are feeling PTSD, what would be perhaps the symptoms and what can they do?
A person would have nightmares or flashbacks. Their senses would be aroused, meaning if they saw something or smelled something or heard something that reminds them of the natural disaster, their anxiety would come up. Also, they'd avoid people, places, and things that somehow are reminders of the natural disaster. And then finally, negative emotions, perhaps a pervasive sense of anger or a pessimistic view of life or people.
So that kind of goes along what you were saying about the kids and the rain. Their attitude changes when it starts to rain.
Right. All 4 of those clusters, those symptom clusters, have to be there to get a diagnosis of PTSD.
Okay.
So the recovery is a lot longer than people realize from an event like this. Thank you, Bill Prasad.
Sure.
We appreciate you being here.